I think it's the M2, yeah. JP's Town is there. A lot of Zulu guys, a lot of taxis there, a lot of foreigners moving in, a lot of very dingy second-hand cars. Oh, yeah. I don't even know if you call them second-hand. Old cars, let's put them like that. Close to a place called Melvin. A lot of Zulu taxi guys there as well. A lot of violence because there's Zulu hostels. They're popular. They've even got a show, a hostela, to chronicle the stories there. So these other places, I don't know. Morocco, I don't know. Nyanga apparently is one of the highest crime areas in the country, outside of just, anyways, whatever. I hate it when we go live because then we can't speak like this. I wish like this could be our show. Live. Are we live? We're live. Is this going to go on the thing?
Yes, it depends.
Oh, okay. Bobby, it's your show, bro. I'm just like a little...
No, our show.
I'm a little pop art piece here.
I don't want to talk about pop art because you're going to give me a complex. You know so much about so many things. So the only thing I know about pop art is I love pop art. It's freaking cool. I think
it's very colorful.
Yeah.
There's a Lekker gallery at Hyde Park in Joburg. That has got pop art paintings, sculptures. Like people don't know what pop art is. Kanye West, Heartless, that music video. People to go check out. There've been a couple of other, there've been a couple of others because people don't know these things, man. There's a scene from The Devil Wears Prada with Meryl Streep, Anne Hathaway, where they're busy fussing over like a garment. Yes. And Anne Hathaway, as this new intern, laughs, and Meryl's like, "Why are you laughing?" She's like, "Well, it's just like these things look the same. It's a bunch of stuff." And she's like, she gives her this whole history of how even the ugly jersey she's wearing comes from a certain range, which was decided on the highest levels until it eventually landed at some random shop in a bunch of stuff. And people think everything is just, it's whatever. It's like, it's not. It comes from somewhere.
And it's thought after and placed strategically there for 100%. A reason. Yeah, I think it's either you love it or hate it.
It's colorful, man. You can't not hate it. It's happy. It's like Disney, like Google's logo, alphabet.
Yes. How have you been?
I've been very good.
You've been busy?
Nah, in the last 2 weeks, I've been less busy, which makes me happy because I think I was traveling too much. Going to be playing touch rugby. I don't know when this is coming out. Are we allowed to say the date? Today's the 24th of August.
Yes.
I'm playing a touch rugby tournament on Saturday at St. Stithians College in Joburg.
In 2 days now?
In 2 days, yeah. Okay. But it's touch rugby. Like, of all the things in the world, it's not the scariest, but it's quite exciting because myself, my brother, a couple of other influencers are going through Josie 10s, 10-a-side. 10-a-side rugby, which is something unique. And we were speaking about Mid-Mac Motors now and how you constantly want to find niche spaces.
Yes.
Where like no one is playing in those spaces. So Josie 10s, I'm quite excited. I haven't run in like a month and a half. So yeah, but luckily it coincides with the Springbok or the Springboks and the Rugby World Cup. But we can chat about that later. How have you been?
I'm good. I'm very good.
Are you ever down? Do you ever like, Pen, I'm not feeling like I'm sick. Things are not going well. Do you ever say that?
No, not allowed to. Not allowed
so to. I should never ask.
No, I'm always good. I have to be good. So I'm big on, Vince taught me this transfer of energy. And if I receive negative energy, I have to bury that bitch somewhere where it's not gonna be found by anyone else. Well, I try my best most times. And just put out sunshine and positivity into the world.
Are you still selling cars? I asked you this off camera. Yes. Are you still selling cars?
Yes.
Because you've become like a social media celebrity now.
Hey man,
I see some of the craziest videos, DJing.
Yeah,
with the honeys there, selling cars, pushing cars.
It's funny to say that every time I went somewhere at an event, I was Bobby from Mid-Mac. Yeah. And of late, like the last month or so, I'm Bobby from TikTok. So I said, no problem, man. I'll take Bobby from TikTok.
People are going to think you're like the mascot for the company. Yes. Like, listen, tell your boss I really like you. He must Stay hiring you.
Yeah, must give me a promotion. I need a raise, by the way, with the interest rates and everything else. Whoever's listening.
Whoever's listening, ping yourself. Jeez, Bobby, please give Bobby a raise.
A raise,
He's
please.
struggling here. Have you seen the comments on our last episode? Unapologetic Talks, which is our unofficial name for now.
Yes, yes.
How did you feel? Not surprised.
Man, I just, there's a lot of level-headed, people having a good back and forward and processing issues, level-headedly, but there's a lot of emotion as well. There's a lot of, we discussed it in the episode. It's a tough subject. It's an emotional subject for both parties. I think it's running quite well. It's getting a lot of views. I'm getting a lot of, surprisingly old customers that phone me and say, very brave of you to attempt answering a question like that. Very brave, first of all. So I said, okay. And, it's a conversation that deserves airtime. It's a conversation where, you need to process issues like that level-headedly. And both white customers, black customers, Indian customers, I've had a lot of love from people that I know. Yeah. And, a lot of different comments on social media from people that I don't know, which is also mixed emotion.
The videos have been crazy. I think the YouTube is over 120,000. I saw some of the TikToks are 20, 50. There's one that's like going for 140, 150,000 views.
Yes, sir.
Look, I'm not big on views personally. I'm big on impact. I'd rather 5 people watch, but those 5 people are like world leaders. But it means that our conversations, as you say, carry weight and they actually impact people and people, because this is the thing about the TikTok algorithm. If someone likes a conversation, they share it.
Yes.
And then more people see it, which means they're like, this is worth other people engaging.
Yes.
And then obviously you see the comments. So you gave a very presidential answer. I think like what people were saying about brave is maybe they didn't know what an intelligent leader you actually are.
Oh, wow. That's a comment. That I don't think I deserve. But
no, you deserve it.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
We're not allowed to read comments, Elsie. I don't know.
You can if you want.
Just to give a shout out to some of the people that sent some of the comments. Whether there's some of the anonymous trader. No, this guy's giving me compliments. I can't handle that. I'll read the last part. I feel you, brother, 100%, and I understand and support you 100%. Please doing what you do and stay blessed. Mthokozi Simiende. I love this. TGI Network. This was perfect, gents. Kagiso Rapatelo. That we're spitting fire. HIG_SM. Mlondi Kumalo. I'm just giving a shout out to some of the people that commented here. Radoslav. Is that Radoslav?
Yeah, that's probably my tribe. Radoslav, yes.
Jeez.
My tribe, yeah. Shout out to the cold country.
Deep conversation between 2 extremely competent men about unspoken problems makes a very valuable podcast. Keep up the series. That's pretty dope.
Wow, awesome.
Nhlanhla Calvin, superb show. Spusiso, Hava. Love this. Looking forward to the playlist. So we've already got like a little following that's going to be
amazing. Looking
forward to our stuff. Really enjoyed the taxi industry convo. It's interesting, although disagree with the notion of saying taxi owners are not the people who are open for negotiation. It's false. They are, but the industry is rough. Lebogang Mukwena, Lebza. If Penuel sees this, shout out to you, man. My father owns some taxis. They moor those guys, is what he says with a laughing emoji.
Yeah.
Elise Salia, absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much. Omski with some heart emojis. Those are just some of the comments. Thank you so much, guys. We really, really appreciate it. Really appreciate you, man. I mean, without you, we're just like 2 crazy guys filming useless content online that we're going to watch alone with our family and friends that love us. But you guys actually make us important, so we appreciate it.
Thank you.
We've got some topics today, and I know we'd spoken about them before. I want to structure them.
Let's do it.
From most, building up to like most emotive for me.
Okay.
And then hopefully end of the show on like a lighter note.
Okay.
Hopefully. There was a conversation we were meant to start last week about a movie that I still haven't seen, which makes me very bad at my research. Sound of Freedom.
Yep.
Jim Caviezel, It's been spoken about insanely in Hollywood. We are not speaking about it in South Africa as much as we should, and it's something that affects us very much, which is the story of child kidnapping, trafficking, etc. I don't know if you'd like to share on that, and then I'll share my pieces.
Sure. So we spoke to a expert in the field earlier the week. We recorded the episode, and she shared some good insight. And first of all, take an industry like that.
Yeah.
Currently, worldwide, almost 2 million children or minors under 18s are affected. 2 million is the number. Overtook the industry of illegal arms deals, on its way to catch up the drug industry. So, as the movie said, a drug deal happens once. So there's an exchange of money for a product, whether it's cocaine or whatever it is, nyaupe, tik, whatever the exchange is, where a child that's trafficked or a minor that's trafficked could be sold 10, 15, 20 times per day for a space of 10, 15 years. So that's the danger. Okay. Having said that, she also noted that people are kidnapped for multiple reasons. So it's not only in the sex industry. People are kidnapped to do physical labor. Physical labor. People are kidnapped for organs. So it's a scary reality. You go missing and you wake up and a kidney's gone, or, you don't wake up. So those are, some of the dangers, and it's closer to home than we think. There is reported kidnappings in currently at what is the mall that she quoted? It's in Midrand. What is this biggest state in Midrand?
Mall of Africa.
And
no, Midstream.
It's
Centurion.
Centurion side. So that's the current South African hotspot where people are going missing and kidnappings occur. It is absolutely scary. And for parents to say, I need to be more protective over my little girl. I mean, you've got kids.
Yeah.
She said, listen, girls, boys, equally kidnapped. Boys get kidnapped and put in those three industries just as much as girls do. It's not a girl thing, or boys and girls.
Yeah.
As young as 7, 6, 5, 8 years old. Another problem that currently is being addressed to the best of their abilities is illegal child adoptions.
Yeah.
So a baby, an infant is stolen and given to parents, sold to parents as an adopted child. How the paperwork and stuff is generated is beyond me, but that's another problem. So that's what we got from her.
I thought we were going to build up to this topic because it's
incredibly scary.
You spoke to Bianca van Aswegen.
Van Aswegen,
Missing
yes.
Child South Africa.
Yes.
Is where she's from. I'll start with the movie. Okay. Not that it's less heavy, but when you bring it closer to home now, it becomes another story. My understanding, because I've seen a lot of the reviews and the interviews of the movie, and I want to paint a picture for people that haven't seen it, and hopefully to inspire people to go and watch it. Because as a parent, as a caring citizen, just as a human being with a heart, it's so as the story goes, a father's approached. Let's create the story. A father's approached in Midstream by an agent who,
yes.
I do talent for children. Your boy is so cute. Your little daughter's so cute. Oh, they'd be amazing on TV. They look great. They sound great. And as a father, you're excited. You're like, oh, thank you so much.
That's a door that we want to open for our children.
Come on, that's an opportunity. Yeah. My kids are going to be child stars. We're going to make money. This is great. Please come through for an audition. Bring your kids. And, I can imagine, especially as a single father, let's say the mom has passed away or for whatever reason she's not around. You're like, I'm trying. Yeah. My kids are looking good. And this is the universe saying, you're doing well. Here's an opportunity for you. Thank you so much. The father shows up to wherever they were told, meet us here, bring the kids. And when they get there, dressed up, suit, looking good, because you also want to look presentable.
It's an audition.
You're not going to be like the Williams father, the Michael Jackson's dad type. You're going to be that guy. And you're like, yo, this is how it starts. And these people there, I'm not mentioning the people because I want to raise this later. These people, they are like, look, drop the kids off. It's fine. I mean, you're in midstream, go have a coffee, go chill. We normally take about 2 hours with the kids, you know, because they normally take a while to get comfortable. I'm speaking from experience. Yes. I used to be part of talent work. I've done TV commercials, ads, model spaces. This is what they say. The kids need to get a bit comfortable. So before we even start taking pictures and recording them, we just want to chill and chat. Maybe they'll play with some toys. So give us about 2 hours, you know, and then come back, relax. It's fine. And as a father, you're like, yeah, sure, you know, safe space, etc.
No problem.
The father comes back, and when he gets there, the children are gone, the people are gone. Whatever setup that he'd seen there does not exist anymore, and he loses his mind. So my understanding is the movie starts off and opens in that. And Tim Ballard, the guy who's been involved, it's based on a true story. His part is acted by Jim Caviezel, who did Jesus in Passion of the Christ. Mel Gibson movie. Mel Gibson did Apocalypto, one of the greatest movies ever made. Then they go into this world of child trafficking, and the movie exposes the reality of child trafficking. And one of the stories that comes out is Jim Caviezel's wife was very nervous about the filming of the movie and insisted that they get security for Jim.
Yeah.
And they got these, I don't know if it's ex-Navy SEAL, just some serious guys to go and be security. That's all it was in the filming of the movie.
Yeah.
And in the process of the filming of the movie, they saved children that were being trafficked.
Amazing.
Like, it might sound like Hollywood sensationalism, but like it's a real thing. And for people that don't know, especially in places like South America, Mexico, some of the Latino countries, we will speak about Pablo Escobar. Children are commodities.
Yeah.
We don't. So we are commodities in the labor market. Like you to get a job. Oh, she's a model. She can. There are people that look at children like, oh, this, you know, you look at her, she'd make me a lot of money.
Like an asset, appreciating asset.
Yes. So people must go and see it, man. Sound of Freedom. It broke box office records, beating Mission Impossible. There's been a lot of issues because apparently a lot of Hollywood elite people have had issues with this movie because it almost seems to insinuate that there are a lot of cover-ups. If you think of Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh, man.
In South Africa, there have been rumors, again, bring it closer to home. There have been rumors of certain leaders, political, traditional, religious, all the way, I guess, to the Vatican, that have been accused of doing funny things to especially little boys and other kids. And the kids don't speak up. There was a case in Gqeberha, I think, a Nigerian pastor who was keeping these girls in the church. And this one brave lady eventually went home, and then she came back and they opened this case that this guy's been sleeping with us, etc., etc. It's a scary concept. And the people that have reviewed the movie have said, look, the good thing, put in inverted commas, is that the movie's not graphic. Now, you refer a movie like that to Man on Fire, Denzel Washington.
My favorite movie.
Dakota Fanning. Dakota Fanning, movie. What an actress.
Wow.
Denzel Washington comes in as a retired, I don't know if he's CIA or whatever, to come and protect this family. Meanwhile, the father has made a deal to have his daughter kidnapped so that he can claim insurance money because there's ransom insurance. There are places with ransom insurance.
South Africa included. We're gonna touch on it a bit later.
Shit.
Yeah.
Then heavy action movie that everyone loves. Yeah. Liam Neeson, Taken.
Yes.
And yes, very rightly so. Those movies almost distracted us from the reality because Denzel, Dakota Fanning, you know, speaking Spanish, going, revenge is a meal best served cold. Liam Neeson, iconic.
Yeah.
I've got a special set of skills.
Yes.
I will find you. I will kill you. You know what I mean? Now, this movie almost moves away from the theatrics and it goes to the reality of children are being trafficked. And as you correctly say, 2 million kids, over 2 million kids a year. I think last year, if not the year before, 20 million photos of children were uploaded online, which was apparently a 5,000% increase. I think it might be a $150 billion industry now. And
unreal.
I sell you cocaine, you buy it, you consume it, you come back. I sell you a child. You're in the used car industry. Yeah. Literally the child becomes like a used car where person after person is selling. How old is this one? How long have they been in the game? Are they drugged up? Are they pretty? Are they blonde? Oh, a lot of my European mates are looking for black, dark. You know, they're into that. I think of everything that we see in front of our eyes and how we are oblivious to the world we live in. I was exposed in high school to children that were doing or sniffing paraffin, turpentine. I was not aware. I was ignorant. But my friends would be like, these girls that are laughing in class at the back, they're not just laughing, they're high. I'm like, no, they're not. It's like, that girl that's there is pregnant. I'm like, no, she's not. Criminality in this country has become so rampant and obvious. The Pakistani, Somalian, Ethiopian spaza shop owners, almost all of them don't have license to trade here. And we know that they are a crime in front of our eyes. We have got child grants of 490 Rand a month. We've got free healthcare for South African citizens and children. We've got free schooling for South African children where they get fed. So when you stop at a traffic light and you see a woman with a child, one of the questions that's meant to come up is she South African? Because she's meant to get a free house.
Yeah.
The kids are meant to get free healthcare. They're meant to be fed. And there are spaces where children can be taken.
Yeah.
Is she South African, number one? Number two, why is she out here with these children? It's so sad. It's so heartbreaking. Now, to our topic now, you have to actually ask, are these her children?
Are they her children? And now I've got a follow-up question. Let's say whether she's South African or not, put that aside.
Yeah.
Are they her children? Yes or no? Put that aside. Her being there means it's ROI positive.
Yes. She's going to make money because we care and we're going to donate and we're going to feel sorry for the kids.
Yes.
There are children, colored children in some of the areas. Some of these kids have been groomed to obviously be professional beggars. There are rumors of them having pimps that they report to. There's a movie called August Rush, amazing movie, I think with Robin Williams, which highlights, look, it's done in a theatric musical way because it's a beautiful movie. It's got Joaquin Phoenix. But it's this idea that there are pimps that send children out to beg on the streets to bring money back to them. Some of the data that I'd seen on the side, which is extremely scary and are things we don't think about, is the number of slaves we still have in 2023 in the world. Because we're like, no, slavery was abolished. According to data worldwide, we've got close to 50 million modern slaves.
Wow.
Forced labor, forced marriage, forced sex work. It makes me wonder because a lot of guys boast about strip clubs, especially in places like Joburg Summit, the Grand, the Royal Park Hotel. And like the mothers on the street, or we'll assume they're mothers by the traffic lights, do guys ever stop and ask, these women that are stripping here, that are sex workers, are they South African? The reason you ask if they're South African is because they may have been trafficked here. They may not be from here.
You're right.
They might be. Are they South African? Did they choose to be here? Do they look sober? Maybe look at their arms and see if there's any signs of there might be injections involved. Do they have diseases? Like I say, some of the crimes are in front of our face. So 50 million is the global. In Africa, it's just over 7 million.
Wow.
Over 7 million slaves that we have. And we laugh and it's cute. And we don't know what it means because when you see a guy carrying a load or cleaning somewhere, you greet, hello. The last thing you think in your head is, even if I were to ask this guy, they'd be too scared to speak because what will happen to them? And maybe I want to end on this point before we speak about some of the South African data. In the movie, I haven't seen it, as I said. I have to see it. When you speak about a talent recruiter coming to you and your kids, and then you hear human trafficker, think a lot of things. Man on Fire, it was this Latino man who also had his own children.
Yes.
Who apparently, in Taken, there's this good looking. I think he speaks French guy, speaking to the girls. Let's go party. You know, these liberal girls are like, I'm going to travel with my friends. We're going to go party and have fun. And oh my gosh, he's so cute. Some of the stories you hear about some of the traffickers is the person that you think is the opposite of a trafficker. You might be thinking rough Eastern European man with a rough Middle Eastern, maybe Nigerian, big. Some of these people are the prettiest. White, I have to mention white because this is important, especially in the South African context. Blonde, blue-eyed women, delicate voices. Blonde, blue-eyed, pretty lady comes up to you as a little colored black father with the, oh, sir, your kids are so beautiful. I know, thank you. They can become stars. The last thing in your head when you think of crime and trafficking and sexual abuse is, she didn't look like a trafficker. What do you mean? She didn't look like, what does a trafficker look like?
Yeah.
I hope I covered everything. I've got so many things to speak about before I get to the South African aspect. You spoke about organs.
Organ donors. Well, the kidnapping of children and humans.
Yeah, for organs. So
for harvesting organs.
In South Africa, we've got unique problems, but then there are first world issues. So there've been cases, especially in some of the more rural villages, of traditional healers, witch doctors and the like, harvesting organs. I mean, there were stories of kids where kids are being kidnapped so that they can take things. There was a theory back in the 90s held by certain black men that if you're HIV positive and you sleep with a virgin, it cures you of your HIV status. So they'd rape virgins for that. There was a cultural phenomenon. I don't know if it's still practiced because there's a lot that are still practiced, which the Jacob Zuma, ex-president, the Zuma family, the Duma family, they still do this thing of cutting the face with a razor. They started from child. If you ever look at Zuma's skin here, there's, I think it's called the or something, where the Ngubane families in KZN, all the children have their pinkies chopped off.
What?
The theory sounds so whack. I don't know if it's the official theory, but the theory is so whack. It's one of the elders back in the day went blind. And for them to identify the children in the family, the best way was to feel the hand and be like, okay. So then it became a... Anyways, my point was going to... There's something called Utwala. I don't know if it's still legit in certain spaces, but it's basically forced marriage through kidnapping. A guy would see a girl that he likes. Him and his brothers or uncles would go and kidnap the girl. The family would be told, your girl was kidnapped by that guy there. And then, depending on how powerful and strong that family is, your family will go there and be like, this is our daughter. We'd like to fine you 5 cows, but you get to keep her.
What?
And she's, anyway, so that's the weirder stuff. The traditional medicine, the parts. I mean, people speak about monkey parts and children's private parts are used for whatever. Very dark.
Very.
Then there's, because people are like, oh, that's so disgusting. Then there's me and you. We have someone in our families that is very ill. Someone we love. My mom, your uncle. And they have a specific blood type. And they need a kidney. They need a lung. And it's like, what are the probabilities of getting this? And you're like, realistically speaking, you're looking at 2%. You're like, that's wild. It's like,
wow. Yeah,
and you're like, is there no plan that can be made? There's nothing. Well, sorry, sir. And as you're about to leave, someone's like, look, I could help you, but, we get these organs off the black market. They cost a lot of money. And you're like, nah, that sounds like human trafficking. They're like, I swear, no human trafficking. It doesn't go through the system because it takes a lot of work and what. And some of those people go and they kill human beings to get those parts so that they can sell you a kidney, liver for maybe 500,000, $1 million, etc. So for people that are like, oh, the witch doctors are so bad, they are well off, good, educated people that also get certain parts in the black market because they're like, bro, this is my grandma. Would you let your grandmother die if someone's like, look, chances are she's going to die? Not even your grandma. Maybe your grandma's lived a full life. This is your child. Your child's going to die. Someone's like, we can get a thing. There's a chance that it might be child trafficking. But these guys swear that it's not. You're like, adoption is another one where people are getting kids. Charlize Theron, Madonna. We'd like to think because they're celebrities, the old vetting process went through.
Yes.
But for other people that are unknown, do they really know where these kids come from? Do they? Because, I mean, these are lucrative industries. Yeah, I think I'll stop there for now, man. But it's a very dark space. It's a very dark conversation. And the fact that we have open borders also just, not open borders, but we have flimsy border control.
Yeah.
It doesn't help.
I mean, you're talking about organs and people. We can't even get the fact that they're stealing Rangers and Hiluxes and you know, exporting them through Namibia into Mozambique, into Zimbabwe. We can't keep cars from leaving borders. What about human parts or actual humans? It's incredible. That it's so dark. It's so. I'm actually. I think I need a moment when you started posing the argument. You know, if a loved one, and everybody watching can relate to your argument. If a loved one, if you've got a sick child that needs a kidney, and it's a O negative blood type, which is very, very rare, and you've got 2% chances of survival, but this doctor says, look, we've got a plan for you. We can get you a kidney. O negative, it's going to cost you X amount. It's just bypass the system. You know, as a parent, putting yourself in that predicament. I hope nobody ever gets put in that predicament. But I can literally see how there's a market there.
Yeah, there's no rational, loving parents that would say no, and be like, there's a chance that it's so no, let my child die. They're lying, and that creates a market. Missing Child South Africa, Bianca van Aswegen, I think, is the spokesperson. They speak about data of something like every 5 hours a child goes missing in South Africa. Luckily for us, over 75% of those children are found.
Yes.
Sadly for us, 2% of those children are normally found dead. I'm a father of 6 children, but more specifically 2 daughters.
Congratulations.
Thank you. But it also comes with the stress, right, of this topic.
Yes.
My firstborn son, Nkunzi, myself and his mom lost him in a shopping center in Auckland Park. Lost him.
Wow. How long ago and how old was...
This was back in... He was born in 2010. Might have been 2012. So he was probably 2 years old. He was able to walk, but not really to talk properly. So we're inside a stationery shop. She goes that way. I go this way.
He goes the other way.
As we meet, because you're in aisles. It's the boy's walking because you want your child to be free. And, as I get to the other side, she sees me. She's like, oh, where's the boy? I'm like, oh, I thought he's with you. No, we go crazy in the shop. Luckily, it was a 5-minute panic. We walk out the store and it's coming down the road. And luckily for me, some people knew my son. So these guys are like, hey, we thought this was your boy. I'm like, thank you. My brother had a similar situation in a place like Mall of Africa in Midrand. I don't know how long. And the boy came with, I think it was a security guard, not talking, not crying, anything. And it makes me think of, I used to laugh, laugh at white people and white people things. I'd look at these white parents that have these leash things on their kids.
How quickly did you get a leash for that young man?
Like, what animal behavior is this? And it's a real thing. And at some point there were these very popular copper bracelets.
Yes.
And I think these are some of the things we need to speak about, especially for children that can't communicate, etc. Getting some type of arm bracelets, especially when they're very young in a mall, with your phone number and their name. Look, it's just to minimize if ever the child gets lost. Someone might see the thing. The leash, of course, even though I used to laugh at it, I get it now. I've had a unique situation where people are starting to recognize me. And I've spoken with the mothers of my kids, and they've said, look, some of the things you say are controversial.
Yes.
And do you ever worry about how this might impact your children?
Valid question.
Because I post my kids a lot. I love my children very much. And they're like, do you ever think your children would be in danger? And I'm like, no. But I'm not stubborn. I'm teachable. I listen. I'm like, because there was an incident where this one guy, I think it may have been in Durban, went up to the mother of my kids like, no, man, I know these kids. It's like, really? He's like, yeah, these are Penuel's kids. Yes. And
recognize the children, not the mother of the children.
No, I don't post the mothers of my kids.
Okay.
Recognize the children. And she said she felt uncomfortable because this guy was walking around. Can I please take a picture with the kids? She's like, no, please stay away from the kids. So it was raised in that context of do not worry about your kids. And, I decided to stop posting my kids from then. A couple of months later, I started posting my kids again. And I'm at this dilemma. And look, maybe the audience will chastise me or they'll whatever. Now, let's move me aside. Controversial. Normal parent. Do you post your children? If you post your children, there's arguments that if you post your kids, the traffickers will know this child goes to this school. They can see the school badge. They can kind of see your routine. They know what your children look like. On the other hand, it's if you post your children, people will see these kids. And if they bump into them somewhere, they'll be like, no, but this is Bobby's son.
Yeah.
Hey, is your father Bobby? Yes. Why are you here? No, this man. You're like, no, something's wrong here.
Yeah.
So a conversation that we need to have at some point is the dangers of posting our kids on social media. But at the same time, the pros of posting your kids on social media so that people know that these are your kids and people can have a look out. Because when kids go missing, what's the first thing we do? We post them.
Post pictures.
Now you're not saying, now it's like the child's gone. It's like, bro, if you'd posted before, we could have seen this kid at the board and be like, this looks like Penuel's kid. So it's very tricky. And listening to some of the conversations and some of the things that happen, especially at borders, when the kids get trafficked in and out, and the things we need to learn and our sensitivity. It's scary, but it's conversations we need to have.
Absolutely.
But none of these things are going to change until all of us, I guess, get involved. And the fact that we don't know our neighbors anymore. We can't trust our neighbors as well. It's a mess. Sounds of Freedom. Sound of Freedom. Please go check it out. I need to go check it out. And let's keep having these conversations to protect our children and ourselves. And like you said correctly, not just the girls, the boys as well.
Yeah.
I remember back in the day, what does an HIV positive person look like? And everyone started wearing T-shirts. I'm HIV positive to break the stigma. What does a trafficker look like? Like everyone else.
Yeah.
So we all need to be vigilant.
Yeah. On your point, it's that blonde hair, blue-eyed woman that is charismatic and well-spoken, articulates her words well. It sells. That's the hook. That's the sell point. Otherwise, if it's the Eastern European dog, big, he's
in South Africa, Nigerian, big Nigerian man, and this is another topic that's sensitive for me. A lot of white dunnies, they love babies, so much. So they see your baby, oh my gosh, your son's so cute. I want to eat him. No, this child is mine now.
Yes,
all have a fat laugh, Now, switch the roles. You're chilling at a school rugby game or you're chilling at the mall and this tall, big Nigerian sounding man, oh, your child is so,
there's going to be
I want to eat her. I'm taking, you lose your mind. You're like, please get away. I'm going to call the cops.
Yes.
Because of the stereotypes we've created. I have said before that I didn't get it then, the racism and the profiling. I'm walking in the street. It's getting dark. See a bunch of girls there. I'm wearing a hoodie and they cross the road. I'm like, that's racist. That's profiling. But you don't want to take that chance. You don't want to be like, I don't judge people by their cover. I don't greet people's children. Unless the parent is there, I might wave, but making sure that the parent acknowledges me. I'm not going to chat to a child on the side with the parent because already that's shady. I'm not even a shady guy, but one of the things I fear is if children get comfortable speaking to me as a stranger, they'll speak to the wrong stranger. So I'd rather if a child comes up to me, hello, I'm like, hey, sorry, your child. Hello. Sorry, your child. Because I don't want the child to get comfortable randomly greeting people. I don't want a little girl being comfortable. Hi, how are you? Why are you sitting here? I'm like, hey, where are your parents?
Yeah.
I'm safe, but I don't want you to be like, yeah, but he's like that other guy that greeted me. So friendly. There's no profile. So Yeah, sorry, Bobby. I took away from what you were saying.
Good point. No, valuable point, because the next person is going to be friendly and say, "Oh, I'm doing great. How are you? How's your parents?" And looking at, I can't remember what interview I watched, and they interviewed a child trafficker, convicted guy that trafficked children, and he said one of the main things that he would look at was a father who's not a masculine father. So and I'll go back and see where that interview is, and we can perhaps share it. But he'll look at a family and say, okay, that father is not a masculine father. He's not a threat. Physically, he can't do anything to me. I'm going to target and, start a conversation with the children. Mm. So that was one of the things. Now, you are a friendly, trustable guy. Please look after your child. The next guy is friendlier, but with ill intentions. Yeah. And then that's where the problem happens.
We need to be vigilant. Parents that are excited about their kids joining a nice soccer club, talent agencies, becoming a model. Guys, please do the vetting. Get referrals. Make sure that you know the people that work there. Don't ever let your child out of your sight. It doesn't matter if it's, I'd even argue through a window, but you never let your child out of your sight. It doesn't matter where they are, what's happening. It doesn't matter if it's the only places we'd like to maybe trust our kids, because we don't want to drive paranoia.
Yeah.
Schools, hopefully. And even then, we've had cases in this country where some of the schools, I'm not going to mention the names because some of these schools have gotten really bad press, unfairly so, because there are a lot of good teachers and students there. But there have been schools in this country where teachers have gotten up to mischief with the kids. But be vigilant. Be vigilant. Don't let your kids out of your sight. And until you've vetted, until you know your child is out there, this rubbish of liberal and girls' night and, girls get drugged by the nicest guys and they wake up in spaces they weren't aware of. And don't try to be hero. You're not too cool. You're not too smart. A lot of these men and women are highly skilled in what they do. They're better than scam artists because they know your touch points. Yeah. And they will go for all your touch points. They'll discuss politics. They'll discuss, whatever you want. And they'll laugh and they'll be like, oh, it's okay. You can have free drinks. Look, I'm going to my wife. Oh, he's got a wife. He's buying us free. This is a safe guy. Look, these are my kids. Those are not his kids. These are my kids. Oh, my daughter's stressing me out. Sorry, I was speaking to my wife. She says I must come home. Like, oh, this is a safe guy. It's not.
It's not.
Be vigilant at all times. You'd rather have mild paranoia than be too liberal and end up regretting it.
I always use this, and it's worked for me in every tricky situation. Who can steal more money? A guy with a gun or a guy with a pen?
Yeah, and a guy with a slick tongue.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the dangerous guy. The guy with a gun, his intention is 100% visible. Mm. He's here to do a job, take whatever he needs to take and go. The guy with a pen is the dangerous guy.
Yeah. You spoke about our borders and cars, by the way.
Yes.
I think this data came out in June this year.
Yes.
But it's topical. I saw, shout out to King David Mashabela Studios in the podcast.
Yes.
He had, I think, Utumangcobo is this guy's name, where I haven't watched the episode, unfortunately, but I saw that it may have trended where they were speaking about the most hijacked vehicles.
Yes.
And this is something we need to speak about as well. But in closing, I want to say, guys, prison is not enough, and some of these dog people cannot be rehabilitated. There's something called beyond repair. That is why we put down dogs that have rabies. There are human beings that are psychologically messed up, and to put it politely, some of these people need to be exterminated. Who will do it? I don't know. But prison is not enough for people that are mentally messed up. But sorry, as someone in the car industry, I believe you looked at some of this data.
Yes.
Hijackings in South Africa.
Hijacking. So I would like to process the current statistics. Is it going up, down? What are the 6 most hijacked vehicles as of today? What are the hotspot areas in the different provinces? And have a conversation around that. And potentially there's 3 new trends, by the way, that have come up on the way that people are getting hijacked. Brand new trends. Maybe unpack them a little bit with you.
Please, Bob.
Okay. So statistically, it's gone down slightly, but
do we celebrate that type of data?
5.2% and 5,119 cars were hijacked.
How many?
5,119 cars over the last quarter. That makes it 57 cars every day in our country. 57 cars
within 3 months.
Yes,
5,000. Close to 5,000, or just over 5,100
in the last quarter, in the last 3 months. Yes, sir.
Please continue. Sorry.
5.2% down on the same period of 2022. We have, however, experienced rises in these two provinces, which is the Northern Cape, 37% rise. 37% year on year, as well as the Northwest, 23% rise.
Those are normally safe provinces, by the way, the Northern Cape and the Northwest. You normally think of these dark ones, which means the criminals are probably like, these guys are sleeping.
They're not as alert and as aware as the guys in, because still Gauteng and KZN and Western Cape are the hotspots.
Yeah.
So I believe there's a more relaxed environment, therefore there's more opportunity there, and it's being taken.
Sure.
Gauteng contributed to 2,573, which is 50.3% of all hijackings. Half of the cars. And then Western Cape, 859, which is another 25% of all the hijackings that happened. Now, in Gauteng...
That makes sense in the data, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm guessing people with the most cars are here.
Yeah.
If you look at the populations as well. Okay.
The 5 hotspots in Gauteng are Jeppe. We've got
Jeppe's Town. Near the Joburg CBD or around the Joburg CBD.
Yeah, that's number 1. Then we've got Moroka, Midrand, Sunningham, and Orange Farm. Those are the 5 hotspots in Gauteng.
I would have never thought Orange Farm. There's a lot of poverty in Orange Farm. Okay.
We've got KZN, Umlazi, Marion Hill, Ntuzuma, Inanda, Bekitemba. Those are the 5 hotspots in KZN. And we've got Western Cape, Nyanga. We've got Harare, Philippi East, Lingletu West, Samora, Makel. That's the 5.
Samora Machel. Those might be townships or squatter camps. If a place is named Harare, this city in Zimbabwe, Samora Machel was a Mozambican leader. Okay.
Samora Machel. Sorry, I got it wrong there.
And the other place might be Langaletu. Maybe Langaletu East.
We've got a detailed graph of where it's gone down and where it's gone up that we can potentially share as a PDF at the bottom of this.
Okay.
I think it's good data. And the 3 trends are, the first one is called the blockage method. So hijackers will block you at a fast food place like a KFC or a McDonald's or one of these establishments, where a car will block you from the front as well as the back. So you'll be identified as a target vehicle, maybe one of the vehicles that we're going to mention, one of the 6, that is a vehicle that is currently in demand. They'll block you, and then obviously have the very close space area. They'll point you with a gun, get out the car, whatever. You can't reverse because there's a car behind you. You can't go forward because there's a car behind you, and they'll take your car and everybody drives away. Similar situation in a driveway. So they'll block you from the back. You can't reverse, run up to you. That's the blockage method. The second one is the tap-trap method. So they'll drive behind you and slightly bump you. Like, oh man, I'm so sorry. Can we stop and exchange insurance details? Boom, grab the car and go. And then the third one is the Good Samaritan. Me driving past you, say, excuse me, your tire is flat. I think you ought to maybe pull over and have a look. There's a situation with your tire. Pull over, get hijacked. So those are the 3 new trends that are coming up, adding to those statistics of hijackings.
I want to go a step back. I think we have assumptions about how crime works in this country. And I think when you look at some of this data, it breaks whatever thoughts we had. So for people that live in townships, the assumption is cars are stolen in the suburbs.
Yes.
And maybe stripped in townships or squatter camps. And then when you look at places like Umlazi, which is a township in Durban, places like Inanda, Jeppe's Town is not a township, but it's very close to the Zulu hostels in Joburg. There's a taxi rank there. There's a some horrible old cars that are sold on Julie Street near Melbourne there. It breaks the stereotype. And I can imagine that living in those areas, working in those areas probably increases your insurance premiums.
Yeah.
Jeez, I found that interesting. The fact that cars are being stolen in townships. Like, Tupac has said this before, that a lot of well-off people in the suburbs assume because we live with the criminals in the townships, they're our mates. It's like these guys steal from us. They mug us daily and they steal our cars, as we can see here. Wild.
I'll share a couple of... Unfortunately, I've got a lot of experience in this from the receiving end. We've been hijacked before. There's a gentleman that pointed us with a gun, one of our sales execs, pointed us with a gun with an Audi RS3.
Wait. One of your sales execs?
Was pointed with a...
Or was pointed at? Or not that the sales exec was the one hijacking. Okay.
No.
Okay.
So the very strange thing about that incident was that specific customer presented documentation throughout the process, because we've got a pretty slick vetting process.
Yeah.
Presented documentation, asked us to take the car for an inspection at Audi. We did, booked it in, paid some sum of money there to give us the good bill of health.
Yeah.
So we were able to get a bit of a profile on that specific individual. Anyway, we're going to drive the car to show his wife and come to a building, point with a gun, get out the car. He gets out the car, drives away. That was the one.
That's a potential client.
Yes.
I would have never thought that happens.
Yes. So luckily we had some data of the person. We spread it around on groups. The vehicle was on its way to Rustenburg to be sold to one of these chop shops that anyway go and strip it for parts or whatever they do. We were able to arrest the suspect. They got a hold of him. That's the one scenario that happened to us. The other scenarios that's happened to us before is they do key swapping. So now I approach you working for the dealership. I would like to test drive this vehicle. No problem. Today's cars, unfortunately, are mostly transponder keys. So there's no physical key that you put in the ignition. So, and the keys all look the same.
Yeah.
If you have a certain from this to this year model BMW, all the keys, whether it's a 316 or an M3, they look the same. So we go on the test drive, everything's cool, boom, they swap the key. Tonight, the person came and fetched the vehicle. It happened to us a couple of times, unfortunately. We've recovered most of the vehicles. And this is the dangerous part, is they are so sophisticated. So as the keys become sophisticated in transponder, it changes the code every time you start the vehicle. Obviously, those things are built by humans, programmed by computers. And if you have the means, you can import the technology, whether it's the right way or the wrong way. People are able to program keys while you lock your vehicle, steal that information, just come behind you and take. There was a big thing with the VX300 Land Cruisers recently. A person locks his vehicle in the parking lot, and then someone just casually walks past, looks, you're in the mall, unlocks your vehicle, starts the vehicle, gone. So there's multiple ways that these syndicates work, but they are so sophisticated. Normally what they do is, and that's how we've recovered most of our vehicles, they'll grip a car, and there's a certain window where the tracking companies are really effective. So shout out to them.
Yeah.
Normally that criminal doesn't know whether there's a tracking device in the car or not. So what they do is, that's how we found 7, 8 of our vehicles. They take the vehicle and they park it at a mall. Just random mall in a parking lot.
And wait.
And leave it. Yeah. So they leave the vehicle there. We panic, driving up and down. Boom, go into the mall. Here's our car.
Yeah.
Block the car, phone the cops, here's the car, take it. And on many of those instances, that car didn't actually have a tracking device.
Yeah.
But if it does, and in a day or two, especially if it's a busy mall, like a mainland mall or one of these busy malls that have activities until late night and that type of stuff, 1 or 2 days, come start the car, gone.
Because now he knows that the car's fine.
The car's fine, yeah. Other cars, we've had a very fast sporty AMG Mercedes being just driven off the floor, ramped down steps. So the guy enters as a customer, the vehicle standing in the showroom floor, and there's steps.
Yeah.
It's a very fast, powerful AMG car, cool car. You know, we like to pair the phone, especially if there's a Harman Kardon sound system. Like, let's listen to some music. This thing will blow your mind away. Having fun. And again, it's not the guy that looks like a double door fridge. Oh, aggressive guy. Like, shit, man, you're scaring me. It's the friendliest, nicest, smooth, very nicely dressed guy. Sits in the vehicle, is like, this is a cool car. Show me the boot. Show him the boot. Look at the rest of the vehicle. While the salespeople are standing next to him, it's like, wow, what a car. Closes the door and drives over the steps, over the red robots.
This is a real story.
Happened to us a couple of years ago on CCTV. We've got everything. The vehicle didn't have a tracking device. Gone is the car. Eventually, like a week or two later, the car gets recovered. But there are like 6 or 7 cases where they've done armed robberies with this vehicle. It's used as a getaway vehicle. So some cars get hijacked and stolen to do crimes, because if a SAPS member is chasing you with a MP300 2.4i petrol bucky and you're driving a C63 Mercedes,
come on,
it is what it is. You're not going to catch him. And some vehicles are just so much in demand that they get stripped as quickly as Hiluxes. We've heard stories where Hiluxes get stripped in under 60 minutes. It's completely stripped. Dashboard, airbags, windows, doors, fenders, fender liners, stripped in thousands of pieces, under 60 minutes. And then the shell gets left somewhere, and that's it.
You know, I read somewhere, because you know what I realized with the stats? There's a lot of data on hijackings. It's difficult to find, at least for me, it was difficult to find an overall number for all stolen cars.
Yeah.
But the one thing that I saw is, I think 60%, if not over, of the cars that are stolen in this country are from hijackings.
Yeah.
And what they did say was, it's because it's easier to hijack than a locked car. A lot of the cars have decent security, etc. Yes. We need to speak solutions. So the blockage one with the fast food does not make sense to me, unless maybe if it's a dodgy fast food restaurant somewhere where they, I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying to imagine going to, like, maybe it's because I live in the suburbs. The idea of stopping at a McDonald's, KFC, drive-through, and it seems unfathomable. But clearly people are doing this. And maybe also these 24-hour fast food places where nothing's happening, and it just so happens that there's a car in front of you, a car behind, and it happens so quick. We need to speak about the blockage. A lot of people refuse to buy standalone homes in Gauteng.
Yes.
Because a lot of people get blocked in their driveways, and that anxiety every single day when you're getting home.
It's not worth it.
I saw there was something saying, if you feel like you're being followed, don't stop in your driveway. Stop in the street.
Yeah.
Maybe a few houses before. Even with your driveway, don't drive in until the gate is open.
Yes.
Because they block you.
Yes.
Carry on in the street, move a little bit, and make sure that when your gate is open, you drive straight in and maybe close. It's sad that we have to deal with this type of stuff.
Unfortunately, yeah.
The bumping one, you call it the tap.
Tap, and what is the actual? It's tap and trap.
Tap and trap.
Yes.
That one, and the last one, which is the Good Samaritan. I guess in my head, I'm thinking, if I were a criminal, it's probably late afternoon, early evening. Maybe not during the day, even though I've seen a car's window being smashed in the middle of the CBD in the midst of traffic.
Yeah. That happened to me 3 weeks ago, on my way home. Yes.
Someone smash and grab.
Yes.
This is recent.
Yeah, now recent. Vince is smiling off camera.
We laugh about being victims, hey, but it's not normal.
It's an incredibly traumatic experience that I went through. I promise you.
Were you traumatized?
Well,
be honest.
At the point, the language that I used rhymes with stuff like Voos and I don't know what I didn't call this guy. And the funny thing is, sorry to interrupt you.
No, go for it.
I always have AirPods.
Yeah.
And I'm speaking to Vince, and I look to the left, and I can see a shape.
Yeah.
And I said, no, he's not going to do that.
Yeah.
He said, do what? Gah! And then hits the window with a brick. Luckily, there was a Quantum minibus in front of me, and there was a small pavement next to us. Luckily, as soon as he smashed the window, I fully locked right, and then I climbed on the pavement.
Yeah.
And then the taxi driver saw what was happening.
Yeah.
So he immediately moved a little bit forward, and he gave me a gap to escape.
Sure.
And I actually got away. But man, luckily I saw that brick coming for the window, and it didn't catch me by surprise. I still said, he's not going to do that. Bah! Into the window.
You're reminding me of, I was in a car accident. They hit us from the side. And as the car was coming, I was like, no, fuck. And then it hit. I've been mugged at gunpoint. Oof. And I've been pickpocketed. And, you know, we laugh about it. And it's not normal. And I don't think I was traumatized. But for other people to be traumatizing, it's just how we've normalized crime in this country. Yeah. It's pretty messed up. People need to, especially if it's dusk, late afternoon, early evening, and dawn, early morning. Number one, especially for women, I hate it when women drive at night. I wish it could be avoided, specifically for women. If someone is flashing you, if someone is like, hey, your tire, just hoot and drive until you get to like a fuel station.
Well lit.
They say this even with cops, because I've seen some of the hijackings are these people wearing police uniform and just, even if a cop is following you and what, flash him back, hoot, wave to him and be like, put your hazards on. I'm not going to stop.
Yes.
And if they try to pull you over, just be like, let's go.
Petrol station.
Because people get hijacked and you think it's the cops. Someone's like your tire and you panic. You can imagine, especially for ladies, shame. You know, you're driving past, you're like, hey, you know, roll down. And they, what? You're like, back tire. Oh, thank you. Sure. They drive past.
Yeah.
There's a cop behind them. That as soon as you've pulled over, they there. So some of the solutions is just don't stop. Even with a flat tire, even if your car's making a funny sound, if you're not alone, or rather if you're alone, if there aren't people around, and the sad thing is we've normalized crime to a point where you might actually be getting hijacked and people will drive past and they'll just be like, oh, shame, that's so sad. And they might even hoot to try and scare the guys, but it happens.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just wanted to mention that, man. It's tragic. Please, the cars, because I've had cars stolen. I've luckily never been hijacked, and I hope I won't be hijacked. But I've had cars stolen. So I'd like to hear the list of the most in-demand cars.
So at number 6, the Nissan MP200.
Baki. Very useful.
Yeah.
They love the useful cars.
100%.
Yeah.
And stripped easily. Accidents happen.
Yeah. They
can sell the parts, the fenders, the headlights easily to scrap yards quickly. Unfortunately, it's also probably one of the most cloned vehicles. So on the subject of cloned vehicles, unfortunately, we are victims of that many, many times. But cloned vehicles is where the syndicates will go and buy a smashed vehicle from one of the insurance companies. Mm-hmm. So purchase a vehicle like that, 20, 30 grand. Yeah. It's beyond repair, but still a Code 2 vehicle. So it means it's still licensed as a vehicle that can drive on the road.
Okay.
So here's what they do. They steal a MP200 and they just clone it. They duplicate the chassis plate. They perhaps change the engine to put that engine number if it's usable, or they go and they hit a new engine number, and they take the DNA of the smashed vehicle and build it into the stolen vehicle. So one of the most cloned vehicles is an MP200.
Jeez. To
the point where we are actually, as a company, as our buying team, we are, when I see let's say for example, we're buying a 800,000 Rand Range Rover. I'm like, cool, no problem, just do the checks. If I see a MP200 for 110,000 Rand, my hair raises. I'm nervous. Are you sure? Did you check? Did you quadruple check?
You still buy, you still sell?
100%. So at number 6, MP200. Yeah. Number 5, Toyota Fortuner.
Yeah, I remember the Fortuner at some point was in demand. I remember that. And you hear these stories about By the time you look up, it's on its way to Mozambique or whatever.
Undetected.
Yeah.
Now, people laugh. I did a very funny description of a Legend 45, and one of the reasons why it went viral was, Toyota builds the suspension that it can go from the Free State into Mozambique undetected. And, the funny part is actually, a lot of police people send me the videos, like, you're 100% right.
Yeah.
Because it goes out not only to Mozambique, Zambia, it goes everywhere. But that specific car's engine can also fit in other cars. And it's used as a donor. Yeah. So Nissan MP200, Toyota Fortuner, Ford Ranger.
Ford Ranger. My brother had a Ford Ranger. They stole it twice.
Twice.
They say lightning doesn't strike twice. I was in an area close to the Johannesburg Botanical Gardens.
Yes.
You'd assume relatively safe, northern suburbs. He was coming to celebrate that he's expecting, I think it was his second son.
Nice. Congrats.
Get outside, the car's gone. Chased it down. Maybe let me tell the second story. So the second one, he was teaching at a private school. I'm not going to mention the school. He's teaching at the school. The school has got a chapel. He parks in the school, in the chapel, security guard, boom gate. He gets out, the car's gone. So whoever came in, got the car, greeted the security, bye, left.
What?
Second time. Anyways, the car's gone now, luckily. They've sold it, but they recovered it twice. Again, shout out to tracking companies. The first time, as soon as we hear it, we contact the tracking guys. We start hearing where the car might be. We start going there. We eventually find it in Soweto, and it's been chucked on the side. And at that time, maybe 10 minutes later, the tracking guys get there. We got there first. They get there. We decide to follow them because we want to know what's the process. We found the car. We get to the impound. I think it might have been in Lenasia.
Yes.
We get there. The car's already being stripped. They're trying to find the tracker, whatever the case may be.
Unreal.
Back seats torn. The front. What's this area called? Not the dashboard. Whatever this front part is called. It's, So we see it. So we're glad that we see the car. We're like, this is crazy. And how long was it going to take? To what you were saying about 60 minutes. How long was it going to take for them to get the car somewhere, begin stripping it, etc.? When we get to the impound, so it took a while for the car to be processed, etc., etc. When we get to the impound, the shock that I get, I was never ready for. Taxis are there.
Quantum, CIS.
Quantums with, they write the owner's address on the side. So whoever's stealing cars is not scared to steal taxis. Delivery scooters, Nando's, Debonairs, some of the fanciest, nicest cars. I asked these people because I'm like, I know cars that normally people speak about. They're like, look, these guys steal anything. They were branded cars. Because I always used to think, if I brand my car Mitmac Motors, I'll be like, okay, this car is going to be easy to pick up. Branded cars, everything. So I was very shocked. And then the other thing that hurt me was a lot of the cars don't get claimed. I'm not sure why, whatever the variety of reasons. They're not allowed to sell those cars. They're not allowed to give away those cars. Yeah. Those cars at some point get destroyed.
Yeah. So a lot of people that do have insurance will say that will bring me bad memories. I was either hijacked or they stole the vehicle. Traumatized. I don't want that car insurance company. I've been a loyal customer with you I've got a non-claim bonus for X amount of months or years, whatever. Pay my car, settle my car, let me buy a new car. And eventually some of those cars actually become vehicles that the state uses.
Okay.
Yeah. On the tracking point, I've had an incident where we physically see a Polo getting stolen. Like we see it. Boom, Polo's gone. Now we're running around getting keys. We're going to chase this Polo down. So it's...
You guys chase...
unfortunately...
I apologize for asking this question, and I shouldn't even be asking.
Ask me.
I just wanted to ask your safety. Mm-hmm. Do you guys have weapons when you chase? Because that's another concern.
So no, but we at least...
Okay, please carry on. I actually shouldn't have asked this on camera.
At least on...
But I think for future, people, just be very careful if you're chasing down a car, man.
Yeah,
the last thing you want is to actually get to the car, get to the guys, and then you lose your life. Nah.
Because our idea is we can at least give information over to the police and to
So it's not necessarily stopping. It's just, look, we're chasing it. We can see it.
He turned left, he turned right, whatever. But... we try and chase this Polo down and the guy gets away. It's different when you don't have the concern of other road users in mind. So a red robot for the person getting away is not necessarily something that should be, taken seriously.
Yeah.
So goes through all red robots, gone. Gone is the car. Tracking company says to us, we've got him, don't stress.
Yeah.
Eventually they pinpoint a location. We're expecting to go and find the car, only to find out we find the tracking device next to the robot there. Boom. Tracking device is there. Polo
They
gone.
found it.
Yeah. No, Polo gone. That was one of the cars.
Gayton McKenzie of the Patriotic Alliance is an ex-convict. I think for a while his nickname was ex-con. It was his number plate. But because he spent a lot of time with criminals, he was a criminal himself in the past, he knows a lot of the tricks.
Yes.
And he's made, I think it's a video. Maybe I'll try find it. No, I'm lying. It wasn't a video. He was speaking to me and a group of gents. He was saying, guys, watch out for these things with your cars. And I don't remember all of them, but I'm going to raise the ones that I remember. This is not just hijacking. This is cars getting stolen. When you take your car to the car wash, nothing must show your address. Try to not have duplicate keys. Don't put your house keys with your car keys.
Okay.
So make sure that there's minimal. Already it's dangerous. Like what you were speaking about, the cloning.
Yes.
Because you don't know who works at the car wash. Car wash workshop where they're fixing cars. A lot of the guys, if you've got your ID there, they make photocopies. If there's something that gives you address, if there's something to do with your house keys, they
can duplicate.
They
the house
duplicate,
key.
so
Or
now
there's a
they know
number
where
at
you
the
live. Those kind of things are very, very important. If you're taking your car somewhere, to just be careful. I'm raising this because you spoke about human beings. It's programmed, it's whatever. Most of the crimes, especially the most sophisticated ones, are done by people that work in certain companies.
Yes.
Precisely because they have the know-how. They know where the tracker is normally put.
Yes.
They know how these things work. Some of them work with the police. Some of them work with whoever. So again, it's one of those things where we just need to be vigilant. But if you can minimize the risk, please do so.
100%.
Yeah, don't leave unnecessary stuff in your car, man. Where someone who's washing it can actually pick up pictures of your kids and see where you live and those things. Yeah, and don't put bunches of keys together. That's another just a crime tip. He was speaking also about if you're traveling, these things of get someone to collect your mail. If you have mail that gets dropped off.
Yes.
Get someone to switch on and off the lights, those things, just to minimize, because the criminals are always watching.
That's their
They're
job.
always paying attention.
That's their job. Wow.
Sorry. You'd think a car dealership wouldn't be hit, but then a criminal mind would be like, but that's where our food is.
Yeah, that's exactly
Let's
the
actually
people.
watch those guys because we can
100%.
actually hit them. Our food is there.
100%. So every time we've experienced a crime, we've had to level up and put another stop street.
Yeah.
On that blocking technique, what I've realized from speaking to people is a lot of these very, very sophisticated cars like the X7s and the big cars, it's tougher to get the programmable keys to work. So when there's an order for that vehicle, they might remember a vehicle like that is 2 million rand. So on the illegal market, that vehicle is probably fetching 70, 80, 90, 100,000 rand. Polo Viva only fetches...
Jeez, 100,000 for 2 million.
Yeah, but Polo
I'd
Viva
assume
fetches
like
14.
a million.
Polo Viva is 14 grand. 14 grand, that's what you get. 1-4.
Hectic.
Not 40, 1-4 is what you get. So for 100,000 rand, those 3 or 4 guys will make a little bit of an effort and follow you and boom, block you, because now they've got access to the keys and the car's gone. It's getting as bad as technology existing, the size of a small briefcase, that can jam the tracking device, even if it's temporarily. That can jam the tracking device, so they search for the device while driving. And many times, like what happened with us, we found the tracking device, but the car was gone. Yeah.
Sorry, Nissan NP 200, number 6, number 5.
Fortuner.
Toyota Fortuner.
The Ranger, the famous
Number 4
Ranger
was
of
the
your
Ford
brother.
Ranger. Jeez.
Toyota Etios. At number
Really?
3. Etios. Yes, sir.
I would have never guessed. Are there even a lot of Etioses around? It's number 3 of the most hijacked cars.
Yes. We've bought a cloned Etios in the past as well.
Hectic.
We've bought a cloned Etios in
I would
the
have
past.
never guessed the Toyota Etios.
And number 2, Toyota Hilux.
Yes. Bucky.
That's expected.
Another utility vehicle, very useful.
And unfortunately, it's been there a while. The most hijacked vehicle in South Africa today is the VW Polo.
Yes, I believe almost all of us know that. Yeah. Every time I've wanted to buy a Polo, every time people speak about VW, they're just like, bro, just stay away from that. And it makes me really sad because it's a good quality car.
It's an awesome car.
Decent drive, well priced, etc. A lot
Best-selling
of Toyotas on the list.
Yeah. I think the reason why the Polo remains number one is because it sells so well.
Yeah.
Many accidents, many parts are needed. A lot of people need a windscreen, or they need a dashboard, or they need airbags because their car was in an accident, or they need a fender, or they need rims, whatever the case may be. And 14,000, that's the going price for Polo.
Is it one of the most sold cars?
Yes.
So it's because there's a lot of them around.
That's correct.
As well.
That's why it's one of the most hijacked cars as well.
What would be your message to people who own any of these cars? Or want to buy these cars, since you claim that you sell some of them?
I sell all of them on this list.
Jeez.
All of them. And a lot of them as well. I mean, Nissan MP200s, if we could buy 5 a day, we'll sell 5 a day. Toyota Fortuner, we sell so many. Ford Rangers, Etioses.
These are well-priced, affordable, quality cars.
Correct. I think mainly make sure that, number one, you don't drive in the areas where you're not supposed. You know where you're not supposed to be at night.
Nyanga. Nyanga in Cape Town is one of the most non-spoken about violent places. Never mind cars, murder.
Stay away. Stay away from that place. Number two, when you're parking your vehicle, if you're going to a house or a house party and you've got a nice Toyota Hilux and we're going to park on the Chumi's grass outside while we're having a braai or whatever the case might be, you're looking for trouble. If it's outside on the grass, it will get stolen.
Yeah.
I personally, if as much as I can, avoid driving one of these vehicles if I have to drive somewhere at night.
Yeah.
Because you are almost a target.
Yeah.
But park in a well-lit place. Park very close to... I always used to park far away so that old Tanny doesn't bump my door. Like, cool, man. We've got dent technicians. Shout out to Bratsepo. He's the best in the world. He makes sure...
He's a dent technician.
He is the dent technician. So...
Do you guys do you only do your cars?
Yes.
That sucks. So it's not like Bratsepo say we're coming.
So, but we can obviously
to people outside,
people that
could be a gateway drug. People are like, Bratsepo's awesome. Hey, you guys have nice cars here.
That's correct. But well-lit place, very close to the entrance.
Yeah.
Very, very close to security wherever they hang out, because a criminal wants to grab and run.
Yeah.
But it happens.
I've learned the hard way. Peace of mind, unfortunately, sometimes costs money.
Yeah.
The parking outside, try and avoid it, regardless of the car you have.
Yeah.
So get into the mall. Yes, it's 10 Rand. Yes, it's 20 Rand. It's annoying.
Yeah.
But you'd rather pay 20 Rand than have your car gone.
Gone, yeah.
Like you say, just be vigilant. And if you can, look, I go to the extent because of paranoia, and I've had cars stolen as well. Where you get back and you're like, no, man, maybe I didn't park here. My paranoia is at a level where we have a house party, maybe, or I'm visiting a friend. It's a braai. We're going to watch the rugby. There's no place to park. All the cars I would rather drive 5-10 kilometers.
Get a Uber.
To a mall, park somewhere safe, like you say, close to security.
Yeah.
Well lit. You can see the cameras there.
Yeah.
And then you Uber or you walk back. You're like, my comfort. I don't need to. Do you know the anxiety of constantly having to go outside and
You're not going to enjoy yourself.
You're not going to enjoy yourself at all.
100%.
If you can drive with other people, if you can Uber to the place, by all means, man. So, but shame, very sad. Very sad. Thank you for that data. And to the criminals out there, because, or people that are friends with criminals, you guys hurt us, man. I don't know. I wish like criminals could come and tell us, look, we're hungry, we're starving. And it's like, how can we help you? How can we help you make a living so you don't have to steal? Because you guys are traumatizing us. And when you're hijacking, there's stories of kidnappings now.
Yes.
Do you really need to kidnap someone? No, because that's trauma. And you're breeding hate, because especially as a criminal, this is a message for criminals. some criminals might lose their lives because you don't know who you're stopping.
Yeah.
So as hungry as you are, as much as you're like, look, my man, I didn't have a choice. Just be very thoughtful because you might lose your life as well.
Yeah.
We don't want you to commit crime. But if you find yourself committing crime, please don't hurt anyone.
Yeah.
Because no life is worth 100,000 rand.
Material
No life.
things.
Like, don't take drugs. There are criminals that because they're scared, they're human, they have to get drugged up before they go and, commit a hijacking. Don't do drugs because you're going to do something stupid and hurt someone and you're probably going to get hurt yourself. So, but if we can avoid the crime, and it speaks to socio-economic issues we have in this country, we need to fix our country. We need to fix the border issues. A lot of them open up. And then we need to find innovative, the smart kids that study technology and stuff. We used to have these gorilla bars.
Yeah.
There's these people with the gear locks. There's these people that lock their pedals.
Their pedals, yeah.
We need to find the type of technology. And before we get to Mission Impossible and Tom Cruise, where you put a hand on the thing.
Before
but guys,
you start your car.
I'm sure there's like easy technology where when I leave my car, the person stealing it, the engine switches off. I don't know, man. There's these little buttons that people press, anti-hijack. Let's come up with like cooler gadgets where people just can't steal our cars. And the worst case, it was found 10 kilometers away. The car died. The battery gave in. You came in, you pressed something on your phone and they killed the engine.
Ran out of petrol. We've had a situation where they... We've had
pour 20 rand petrol, guys, every time you drive your car.
So there's a thing called traders fuel. So dealership cars don't have any petrol for two reasons. One, because when you sell your car, you're like, let me do this last trip and give it to them with a light on. And two, when a customer is nice and says, my car has half a tank, what that means in the background is that car will be used by either a manager or a salesperson or somebody within that establishment until the light comes on. So that's traders fuel on the floor. So we had a key swapping. The guys jumped into a C-Class and they drove. And we're like, we can see them. We can see them. They're on this and this highway. They turn left here. They turned into the field. Why did they go in the field? Coming to realize the car ran out of petrol, so they jumped out the car and they ran away. We're like, peace, guys. Thank you very much. Got some petrol, brought the car back. Luckily, they left the key inside, so thank you for that.
Jeez. The guy who commented about the taxi industry and that his father owns taxis. So you don't have to be a criminal or a taxi owner. If you are related to someone who's a criminal, if you know someone, because some of these people, they claim that they have real stories. Like, bro, I'm poor. I don't have a choice. I'm not good at school. But I urge some of you guys to try and speak to these people and try and help them.
Yeah.
I mean, the reason your cousin or your brother stealing cars is because he's struggling somewhere. Now, you can be like, fuck, that guy is a criminal. Or you can be like, look, I have an ability to be the change. Let me see if I can help this guy. He's clearly got a skill.
Yeah.
He's fearless. He's able to plan project management.
Very well.
He can drive. So clearly he can drive. There are jobs out there. Let's help him. Let's help him get somewhere and help. Maybe his job is to join the police force and be like, look, I hijack cars. I can help you guys stop the hijackers.
Yes.
And I can be very competent at this thing and get paid. It won't be maybe at the same level, but you are a criminal today. You are hijacked today. It's a fat laugh. You make money. Tomorrow, the people that you claim to be hijacking for, your family, your mom, you're trying to feed, is going to be caught in a situation where maybe the taxi she's in is getting hijacked. Maybe the car she's bought is being hijacked. Maybe she's with her friend going to church and something's going to happen to her. Don't wait until that point to then want to go to church and ask God to forgive your sins.
Yeah.
You have an ability while you're listening now to be like, you know what? Yeah, look, maybe I haven't explored all my options.
Yeah.
Maybe I can try find something else. Maybe I can become a car salesman. Maybe I can, and it's tough. I won't be able to live it up. But at least I can sleep at night. At least I know that I am not leading to someone's family member being traumatized for life. And I know that I'm not in the line to be shot at because I'm doing something that's really dodgy.
And those people really have skills. So having access to the workshop and speaking to some of the technicians today, if you interview a mechanic and he brings a toolbox, you can't hire him. If you interview a mechanic and he brings a laptop, you're like, okay, cool. This person might be able to work with us because everything is electronic. You plug it in, OBDs and all this type of stuff.
Yeah.
Just reverse engineer what these guys do. They are able to, while you lock your vehicle, steal the information going out of the key into the computer box of the car, duplicate it onto another key with a laptop. How skillful are these guys? They can add value.
A lot of the computer hackers end up getting jobs. Movie I love, Leonardo DiCaprio, Tom Hanks, Catch Me If You Can.
Yeah, good movie.
Frank Abagnale, who the movie is based on, I think got hired, I don't know if it's by the CIA, but to help catch other fraudsters as well.
So the dude that takes a VX300 Land Cruiser, Toyota needs to find him, pay him a fat bonus, and employ that person and say, help us. How do we get better? How do we improve? Yeah.
No, thank you. So yeah, that's cause. I spoke about house parties and the Springboks. Huge shout out to the boys. I know it was a warm-up game. To be fully honest, those of us who are like rugby enthusiasts, we didn't really care about the outcome. We just wanted to see if the boys are in form.
Yes.
A lot of people wanted to see Kolisi, especially having come out of injury.
Yes.
If you've played sports, you will know. Number one, his knee recovery was ridiculous. Normally takes 9 months. If you have good recovery, it's 6 months. He was ready to go in 4.5. They probably injected that knee with crazy painkillers, but he had a monster game. I saw him chase down a guy. 1652. So there was a joke about the score because it was 52-16.
Yes.
And there's this thing about white settlers came here in 1652. I saw Kali Kriel of AfriForum saying they want to blame the settlers for the score. So yeah, 52-16. Shout out to the Springboks, man. I don't know if you saw the game, if you have any thoughts about that.
So I didn't see that specific game. I just know it's the best performance that we've had against Wales ever.
Wales is normally one of our, what's the right word, Achilles heel.
Yes.
But in the World Cups, especially semi-finals and stuff, South Africa struggles because Wales is really good at replicating the South African game.
Okay.
And they tend to be able to match somewhat the muscles. If you look at some of the World Cups we've had, we've struggled with Wales. Hey? So this is a really nice confidence booster. Even though, like I said, the score doesn't really matter. And I don't know if Wales really, really put on their best showing. And no one was really meant to show their moves because you can't play your World Cup strategy here. No. Everyone's watching. So it's just, let's see if the boys are good, score some tries, etc. But look, for South African fans, because we're very sensitive and we love winning no matter what, very happy. The question marks, Manny Libok at number 10 as the kicker because what has come to be seen as best practice is having a brilliant kicker for the World Cup. You look at Johnny Wilkinson in England. You look at Percy Montgomery at some point.
The safe points that we have to get.
100%. Dan Carter, Handré Pollard, of course, who's actually officially out of injury now. But it's just unfortunate because unless if someone gets injured, he can't be selected. Sadly, a lot of people are probably praying somewhere that someone gets injured because they want Handré Pollard in. Lucanio Am, best 13 in the world, is still not ready to play. But I think he's also sort of out of injury, ready to start training. But people are worried about Manny Libok. He's amazing in open play, passes brilliantly both sides. He's been the informed fly half in South Africa in the past 2 seasons. Is he good enough to win the World Cup? We don't know. But we've won a World Cup with a fly half who's not a brilliant kicker, being Butch James. When Percy Montgomery was playing at fullback, we had Butch. Other teams, I mean, Stephen Lockham, drop kick, which helped win, but he wasn't the specialist kicker for the Wallabies in Australia. New Zealand won a World Cup. Dan Carter injured. The other Flavs injured. They brought in Stephen Donald and they still won. So we're hoping. I just don't know if we've tried some of the other guys. I think Cheslin Colby can kick. I'm not sure how well. Damian Willemse can kick. I'm not sure how well. People have said, I think Faf can kick. Jaden Hendrickse, I don't know why he's not being tried out because I watched him back at Glenwood in high school. The boy can slot 60 meters, like Franz Stein.
Wow.
The boy can slot 60 meters, and I don't know if he's been tried as a kicker. So we have guys that can kick. Are they good enough? Last 1 minute of the World Cup, 2-point game, and you're like, call this guy. And you need Francois Steyn is mad upstairs. You need someone who's crazy like Francois Steyn, who almost doesn't care and will come and take 55 meters, boy, sweating, wipe, and just slot that thing in like it's nothing. We don't know yet, but we're hoping that the games won't be that tight.
Yeah.
If the boys can steamroll, we won't need those points. But we're gonna miss the Mornay Steins, who's arguably, on paper, on stats, arguably the best fly half of all time.
Oh wow.
On stats. Not my favorite.
Okay.
Dan Carter, Johnny Wilkinson, and the guys are there. But Mornay Steyn, boy, you can call England, you can call New Zealand, you can call anyone. You're like, we need to put money on the table. We need 10 kicks that are going to be slotted in this game.
Okay.
Without question, Mornay Steyn.
Beautiful. I've got a question.
Yeah.
Friday. So that's tomorrow. Depending on when this episode is going to be aired, we are facing the All Blacks. Okay. Just before the World Cup. Now, you asked me on the last episode, if you were president, what would you do with a song? You are coach for the next, call it 12 weeks.
Yeah.
Pre and post. How do you handle the team? First question is, do you put your best team to go and give 100% on Friday?
Sure.
Or is your strategy more, we're going to test the water, we're going to see what they come at us with and take it from there? Do you risk injury? Do you risk potentially losing a star player in Friday's game? It's just some of the questions that I have in my mind that luckily you get to answer today.
Yeah, look, I won't have smart answers like you. So guys, please don't judge me. Jacques Nienaber. What an amazing guy, man. Is it Jacques? Jacques Nienaber. A lot of people still think Rassie is the coach. So Rassie is a weird guy that we all love.
Yes.
Because he's a maverick. Rassie was brought in as the coach of the Springboks, but at the same time, director of rugby. So he reported to himself.
Wow.
You know? Like Bobby, asking Bobby for a raise. And then he fired himself. But he blooded Nienaber, who was, I think, his assistant in the last World Cup, along with people like Umzwandile Stick, for the backline, etc. So Nienaber he's won a World Cup. For people that are maybe not sure, he's won a World Cup. He was there. He's done everything. He's highly competent. The rest of the guys were there as well. Highly competent. Now, as Nienaber, as Rassie, what do you do? One of the scary things that a lot of us are not expecting is the All Blacks are fielding a full-strength side.
Yes.
On Friday.
Yes.
Bar Shannon Frizzell, who's injured. Not sure about Brody Retallick if he's on. I'm not sure. But the Barrett brothers are on the field. Starting scrum of Aaron Smith, Richie Mounga, all the guys are there. So that was weird because a lot of people didn't expect us. Like, bring on the B-side guys, try them out. Could this be a psychological trick? And what are they up to?
Yes.
What do the Springboks do? I need to, on behalf of the fans, because South African fans are hard, boy. We want to win alles.
No matter what, yes.
I really hope the Springboks lose.
You really hope the Springboks lose?
Yes.
How come?
I'm only saying this because that will become a psychological trick for all the other teams in the World Cup and for South Africa itself. Because if they win, they almost go in as not the underdogs, but as the favorites. And you generally don't really want to be there going in, especially against the All Blacks. Everyone's going to be watching. Some people are saying in the comments, there's never a friendly warm-up game against the All Blacks. Never.
Agree. I'm in that camp, yes.
And I was watching Peter Steph du Toit, my favorite Springbok, next to Cheslin Colby. I don't think Peter Steph knows how to take it easy, bro. He was going berserk last week. I can only imagine the same is going to be happening. Jasper Visa. As Nienaber, I tell the boys, take it easy. Number one. I anticipate. I've seen the All Blacks in the past in similar games. I anticipate a lot of kicking. To avoid a lot of contact.
Okay.
So I'd be telling Faf, scope the ball, play in their half, try and put a little bit of pressure. Let's see if we can get some penalties. Maybe get a line out, basic maul, drive. Don't arm wrestle in the middle. If we're in our half, scope alles weg. Faf, Manny Liebok, Damien Derland is not a kicker. Villy is not really a kick. But whoever has the ball, kick. Let's play in their half. Let's play in their 22. I think the All Blacks are also going to be playing a lot of kicking, especially cross kicks to the wings, trying to put pressure, trying to get a lot of penalties. It's going to be a territorial game more than a possession game.
Okay.
You can have as much possession as you want, as long as it's in your 22 and in your half, because we want to avoid as much physical contact as possible. Sia and some of the muscle guys must play, if they're lucky, the first half, but you almost want to take them off as quickly as possible to minimize, especially fatigue and those things. If we could field the second team, I'd be like, field an entire second team and let them lose. Them lose 50-20, it's fine. We don't mind. We'll be like, it was the second team. The guys are gaining confidence, and they're gaining confidence against the best All Black side. But I don't think the All Blacks are going to be doing a lot. And I think the All Blacks psychologically are probably also going to be like, we don't mind losing. It's chilled. Because we want to go into the World Cup being like, we lost to the Springboks. So I'd be like, take it easy, but maybe use this period to practice your territorial kicking, some strategic play, whatever that means. Maybe try yourself out with some drop goals to, gain some confidence if you can get those in. Some box kicks, minimize, and then maybe some lineouts. Challenge some of their lineouts. Try and win as many of your lineouts as possible, even though you're going to take the ball and kick it away. Yeah. But you just want to build that confidence. And then in the scrums, just match up, but don't try and fight them back. Just defensive scrums as much as possible. Just hold. Don't try and push them back. But don't be going in there and trying to hurt these people, because you will get injured. Now, this is going to be very wrong for me to say. If you're bringing on a second choice, third choice scrum half, play your heart out, boy. You leave your body on the field, because we actually want you to get injured, so Andre can come in. Certain key players, go all in, boy. Like, you lose your marbles. I don't know who are the informed locks and who are not, but one of the locks, if they could go and bring in Louis de Jager, you want to bring in those guys somehow. Or maybe, look, play as hard as you can, get as injured as you can, and then later on in the World Cup, you'll be so battered and bruised, we'll have to send you home, and then we'll bring the guys up. But I don't even know why this game was allowed. It is always going to be a tough game. The problem with Afrikaans people, a lot of them don't listen. So I use Pieter Steff, maybe Dwayne Vermeulen, people like Jasper Visa. I don't think those guys know how to take their foot off the gas. And I don't know if they're able to watch the All Blacks score 3 tries and just take it lying down. The guys I saw the same thing in Siyakulis's eyes last week. Some of these guys, man, it's like they don't think. And I don't know how you calm them down. Bro, just relax. Maybe you take them off the field. I don't know. But that's all I'd say. Territory, number 1. A lot of kicking. Minimize contact. Hopefully some of the games are not going to be too demanding. You want to have... I think the World Cup is 8 games. Yeah. And what Rassi had last time was every game is a final. So go all out. The guys are fit, the guys are good. But with this game in particular, you don't want to get injuries of some of the key guys. So I don't know. That would be my thing. So the supporters, forget the scoreboard. We're going for territory. We're going for kicking. And you want your hardest guys to not go as hard as possible. This game should not be happening. Forget it even is happening. It's the last warm-up for the boys, and they must take it easy.
But it is happening, though. And
it's the All Blacks.
I wanna give you my opinion, and I love the mentality of every game is a final. When you put big egos, big guys in the same room in a competitive sport, obviously there's the strategists and the guys on top that say, okay, we're gonna make this move because this it. But at the end of the day, those guys are not on the field. And on the field, the picture looks different. You've got this guy that's a rock star, that's a superstar, and I have an opportunity to scrum against you, or you running up towards me and I have an opportunity to stop you. That's all I'm going to say.
Score prediction. We're going to obviously look at this in retrospect.
So you are right every time. I hope you are wrong this time.
Okay.
So, I'm going to pray for no injuries and a 7 to 8 point lead for the Springboks.
Okay. Who kicks for the Richie Mo'unga? I'm looking for 10 to 15 point lead by New Zealand. Not necessarily. Look, I'm an All Blacks fan. Maybe I should have said that up front. Jeez.
Are you an All Black?
Jeez, I apologize. I should have said that up front. But it's not. It's got nothing to do with me being an All Blacks fan. If I was behind the Springboks and I wanted them to win the World Cup, I would prefer that everyone almost sees them as the underdogs. And this is the game to lose, so that from here on you win every single game, because everyone got overexcited. They were like, we saw they weak here. Look at what the All Blacks did to them. And you're like, Moy, you come there, boy, and you think you've got us, and watch what we're actually going to do to you. So for that psychological edge, I'm going to be nervous if the Springboks win this game. Because if they do win and everyone celebrates, I'm going to be studying the All Blacks' faces. And if the All Blacks are running off the field as losers and they're smiling, I'd be nervous. So I'm hoping the All Blacks win purely from a psychological perspective. You beat me at training, everyone clapped, you went in as the favorite. Bobby beat him, you saw it. I'm like, Moy. Next game, I mean, I'm going to put all money on myself. I'm going to tell everyone, put all your money on me.
Yeah.
This boy doesn't know what's coming for him. Rocky Balboa. Watch what's going to happen. So 10 to 15 point lead by the All Blacks, mostly on the boot of Richie Mo'unga.
I love sports, and I love organized sports, and I love these debates. My favorite of all time sports person is this man here, Michael
MJ.
Jordan. 100% by far. Like any little piece of content that gets released, I follow him on every platform. I think he's a flippant rock star. But the mentality there is step onto the field to win. Don't step onto the field to try. As a strategist, you are 100% logical. It makes sense because you're setting up for the next. But as a young man, having the opportunity to wear, the national colors, and you are stepping
whatever they
up to
are now, because it was green and gold, and this turquoise looking white thing, we don't know.
But stepping up to an All Blacks team, doing the haka in front of you, your family's watching, the whole country's watching, the pressure is on, the lights are on. I'm going for the win.
You're very unhealthy. So people like that, I'd put on the bench. I'd be like, because MJ had a very unhealthy obsession with winning and improvement.
Win at all costs. Which
as a coach, as a team manager, I want to win the World Cup, and I want you there at the end. So sometimes I have to do the uncool thing. Unfortunately for some of these guys, you put them on the bench, you bring them on second half, and they go and they get injured precisely because you put them on the bench. They're like, you can't cage me. So I'd almost want them to not even play at all.
So as a person that's been involved in a lot of organized rugby, and you've been in very close contact with winning teams, is a mixture between the two mentalities perhaps what is necessary to win the World Cup?
The right mentality, to be honest.
Yes.
I'm going to be honest now.
Yes.
The right mentality is to win everything.
To win everything.
To win everything. The wrong mentality is to win everything by any means necessary and at all costs, where you now have to super strap guys and inject them with the craziest drugs, and we win. 3 years later, the guy can't walk anymore. Shaking, he's got boxer's brain or whatever. Because these are human beings at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You want to be human first, and then, obsessed with winning second. That's why I'm saying, as a player, this is your chance to shine. When will you ever represent your country again? It was your dream as a young boy.
Yeah.
It's the All Blacks. What if you don't get to face the All Blacks ever again because you get injured somewhere else or whatever? You're like, I'm going to go all in. You want to win everything to a point where people are like, even in warm-up games and practice games, these guys don't know how to switch off. And that's what I'm saying about people like Peter Steff. The guy is insane. I mean, Cheslin Colby's another one.
Yeah.
Cheslin can't play a friendly game. He's going to step you guys fucked up. He's going to score tries. So, But as a manager, you almost want to, if the guy can't manage it, you like, look, we'll bring on second half, or we'll play you just for the first 20 minutes. Because we know your mindset. You want to marry that somewhat. But it's tricky, and you can only know if you're right after you've won. In retrospect, you never know. Jake White wasn't supposed to win a World Cup. Very arrogant. Picked certain guys that probably should not have been picked. But then, in retrospect, he won. So he's like, oh, fuck all you guys. I was right.
Yeah, I was right.
But as an athlete, as a performer, as someone who wants to succeed in life, you want to win everything. Warm up, play, friendly match. We're doing this for charity. You're like, yeah, but I beat you in that charity game. So it's whatever, man. And I'll beat you in the final. And I'll beat you in the semis. And I'll beat you in the playoffs. Because I want you to know that this is not I don't need to strategize. I will beat you. It does. Bring your strategy, I'll still beat you because I'm about winning. But yeah, other people need to apply their minds and like get Bobby off the field.
You should start coaching, because I want to go and tackle someone now off the street because you're firing me up, man.
Jeez, no thanks, Bobby. I don't know if we covered everything. For everyone who's watching again, guys, thank you so much, man, for the support. We appreciate you guys more than anything. Yes, these are conversations, but one of the things I've learned in this game is conversations actually have a real impact out there in the world. Sound of Freedom, please go check it out. Please be vigilant with your children, not just your children, be vigilant with the children around you. Let us go back to the saying of it takes a village to raise a child, and be part of a very, very healthy village where if you see the parents next to you, your siblings are slacking, you be the one to educate the children. You tell them, don't take things from strangers. Make sure that you're always with your parents. You train the parents. Not enough parents are being trained. So if you're smarter, train the parents. Be like, don't let your kids do this. I see your child walking around here. It's dangerous. Don't do that. If you've got a problem, I'll help. Put on something. But go and watch this movie. Let's get involved in changing the world for the better. Message to criminals, a message to people who own cars. Again, guys, be vigilant. If you're in crime, it doesn't have to be hijacking cars. It can be something else. This is your time to change. Change your life. We will try to help where we can, but you need to make the decision to be like, you know what? I can't live like this anymore. I am part of the evil that everyone speaks about in the world, and I want to stop. I want to be part of the good. And then, to the Springboks, man, I personally don't care about this game. I'm not favoring the All Blacks or the Springboks in this game. I think they're all warming up. But come World Cup time, my eyes are actually on France and Ireland. A lot of people are saying it's going to be a Northern Hemisphere World Cup.
Wow.
They say this every now and then the sudden hemisphere teams are like, hold my coffee.
Watch this move.
But I'd like to see France. I'd like to see Ireland. I'd like to see Scotland. I'd like to see Wales and see what they bring to the party. I'd like to see if the Polynesian teams have improved at all. The Fijis, the Samoas, etc. But it's go Boka, man. As we sit on a proudly South African platform, the Springboks mean more to us than just sport. We're at a time in this country where things are just bad. And it really always helps to have a winning team because it fires up people to be like, guys, if the Springboks can do this with different races, different religious backgrounds, different personalities, tall guys, short guys, fat guys, thin guys. There was one of the props that said salads don't win scrums. If we can do that on the sports field, we can do that in the economy. We can do that socially. We've got songs and chants that are polarizing the country. We've got people that are fighting. We've got xenophobia and racism and sexism. And we need to look to the Springboks. I mean, it's not just a bunch of guys on the team. They've got female physios. They've got female fans and supporters. They've got women behind the team from different races. And it's like, if we could come together, we can build a Springbok country and win. I love the All Blacks because they represent so much to me. But I'm always happy when the All Blacks lose to a very passionate Springbok side that defeats them in every regard, because as a South African, it means something to me. I could have never played for the All Blacks. When I played rugby, all I wanted to play for was the green and gold. So to the boys, man, good luck. And we're going to be rooting for you against the All Blacks. Personally, I don't care much for the game. Bobby says 8 points.
8 points.
8 points Springboks. I say 10 points All Blacks. And we'll see how it goes.
Sir, once again, you are leaving me and everybody that's going to watch this episode a lot better than you found us. Thank you for your insight, for your charisma, for your knowledge, and thank you for sharing it so freely.
Love you, Bobby. Shout out to Vince and Elsie behind the cameras. We appreciate you guys very much, man.